On KIRO 7. KIRO 7 Eyewitness News 11 at 11 begins right now.
We begin with breaking news out of the North Sound. Word of a possible drowning involving a 7-year-old boy.
We're told the boy apparently climbed over a locked fence in Everett to get to a ball floating in a pool. His friends noticed the boy was having trouble. They ran to get help. The child may have been underwater 10 to 15 minutes. He's been taken to a Seattle area hospital, and we will bring you the latest information on his condition as soon as we get it.
Now to new information in the shocking suicide of the Tacoma police chief and the near-fatal shooting of his wife. We've learned before the shooting, Chief David Brame tried to get professional help to deal with the couple's bitter divorce. KIRO 7 Eyewitness News reporter Amy Clancy is live at Harborview Medical Center tonight, where Crystal Brame is being treated. What's the latest there, Amy?
Well, Sally, tonight, citing patient confidentiality laws, Harborview will not release Crystal Brame's condition. But this statement released today by Tacoma City Manager says that Chief David Brame was, quote, seeking professional counseling for assistance dealing with the divorce. In the mid-1980s, just a few years after joining the Tacoma Police Department, David Brame eulogized a fellow officer slain in the line of duty.
The last two Tacoma police officers.
Tonight, city leaders to citizens are trying to fathom how Chief David Brame went from being at the top of his profession to this.
When I saw that dies after shooting wife himself, that's what caught my eye.
I thought it was really horrible.
Investigators now believe it was not a scheduled meeting that brought together Chief Brame and his estranged wife, Crystal, yesterday. The two pulled into a Gig Harbor shopping center parking lot in separate cars. The chief in a burgundy car, Crystal Brame in the black car. Investigators believe the chief took the couple's 2 children from her car and put them in his. Then police say he got into his wife's car and shot her before turning the gun on himself. In Tacoma, where David Brame served as police chief for 15 months, residents are trying to understand what happened.
Supposed to be the peacekeeper. You know what I'm saying? For him to go do some crazy stuff like that, that's madness.
Tacoma city leaders share their disbelief. City Manager Ray Corpuz states he talked to a number of Chief Brame's colleagues who say there was no indication the chief's personal situation would end like this. Most of all, we just want to understand how it could happen. And in this release, the city manager says that despite the pain being felt tonight by the city of Tacoma and the Tacoma Police Department, he says the people suffering most are the Brame family. And he asks that Crystal Brame and the couple's 2 young children remain in people's prayers tonight. Reporting live at Harborview Medical Center in Seattle, Amy Clancy, KIRO 7 Eyewitness News.
More details now on this story. At 44 years old, David Brame was Tacoma's youngest police chief ever. The son of a Tacoma police officer, Brame was originally hired in 1981 as a patrol officer. During his 21-year career, Brame worked in all divisions inside the force, even serving as vice president of the Police Guild for several years. He was appointed assistant chief in 1999 and became the city's 46th police chief in January of last year. We will keep track of Crystal Brame's condition and will bring you any major developments as our coverage continues on KIRO 7 Eyewitness News.
And today, violence rocked the Portland Police Department. An officer in the Sherwood suburb committed suicide inside the police station. We're just getting this information into the newsroom. We're told the officer worked in the department for several years. It's not clear yet if he was on duty at the time. His name hasn't been released.
A 2-car rollover accident on I-5 snarled traffic big time in the Shoreline area tonight. The DOT camera captures the gridlock near the 236th Street exit. 4 lanes of traffic squeezed down to 1. Now here's a look at the scene just after the accident around 8 o'clock. And you can see within minutes, the backup was just huge. The State Patrol tells us no one was seriously hurt in that crash.
A terrible accident on Lake Sammamish has killed a local jet ski racer. It happened before the race even started. 2 jet skis collided during a practice run. It happened when one driver lost control and spun around. Another jet ski slammed into him. 19-year-old Rick Orozco of Silverdale died at the scene.
It's a shock that it happened. You know, it's somebody falls, a flag goes up, you see them get back on and go. Something like this is just new to us.
My prayers go out to that family. I mean, it could have been my son out there. It could have been anyone of our kids out there, or husbands or brothers.
Event organizers and the racers there say they take safety seriously. All the racers are required to wear helmets, life jackets, gloves, and goggles. The race was canceled, and all the entry fees are being donated to the victim's family.
A shocker in the Laci Peterson case tonight. It turns out police knew where the bodies were in the water for a month, but just left them there. The Oakland Tribune reports tonight the bodies were located with sonar in a shipping channel in the San Francisco Bay in mid-March. But Modesto Police Chief Roy Wasden says investigators were unable to retrieve them because of bad weather. And before they could be hauled out of the water, it's believed an oil tanker passed over or near the burial spot and dislodged them. The wind, choppy waves, and high incoming tides eventually brought the bodies to shore in Richmond earlier this month. One law enforcement source is quoted as saying the shocking discovery was kept quiet out of fear that the suspect, Laci's husband Scott, might flee. And it wasn't long after the bodies washed ashore when police arrested Scott Peterson, worried he would run. He wasn't too far from Mexico with a new look and lots of cash.
The countdown is on in Everett as the Abraham Lincoln moves one step closer to home. The giant carrier left Pearl Harbor today after a quick Hawaiian stop. All these sailors and airmen have been away from home for nearly 10 months now. All 5,500 of them are counting the days before they make it home. It's one of the Navy's longest deployments in the past 50 years. President Bush will honor that effort personally this Thursday. That's when he's scheduled to go on board the Lincoln as it nears San Diego. In fact, he's going to spend the night on the ship. That same day, the ship's squadron of Prowler jets will roar back to NAS Whidbey. Then on May 5th, the support ship Camden returns to Bremerton. And on May 6th, the Lincoln finally returns to Everett with a big parade following on Saturday. And you'll see all the excitement right here on KIRO 7. In just a few hours, a big meeting gets underway to determine the political future of Iraq. It's happening as Defense Secretary Donald Rumsfeld and General Tommy Franks meet with Arab allies in the Gulf. They'll also visit with U.S. troops who just took another one of Saddam's cronies into custody. An Iraqi lieutenant general turned himself in today. Hussam Mohammed Amin was one of the key figures in Saddam's weapons program.
Drastic measures throughout Asia tonight to slow down SARS. Movie theaters, discos, and other crowded entertainment spots are shut down in Beijing, China, by order of the government. In Taiwan, authorities just closed hospitals with suspected cases among medical staff. And the quarantined relative of a SARS patient there tried to escape by leaping from a 7th-floor hospital window. In Singapore, breaking strict quarantine rules could now lead to 6 months in jail or a $1,000 fine. Some American business people there like the get tough stance.
We think it's a model for other countries dealing with this issue.
Tonight, the World Health Organization says Vietnam is the first country to contain its SARS outbreak. Sad news tonight for the Seahawks. The young son of quarterback Trent Dilfer has died. Dilfer's only son, Trevin, had been battling heart disease. The 5-year-old died at Stanford University in California with his family at his bedside.
Seattle might soon become a one-newspaper town. The city's 2 newspapers are just not getting along, and the dispute will likely end up in court this week. There is a lot at stake here. KIRO 7 Eyewitness News reporter Rick Price joins us now with reaction from the streets those papers cover. Rick?
That's right, Wayne. For more than 100 years, Seattleites have had 2 major newspapers to choose from, the Times and what's now the PI. But economics could soon cut that down to 1. And that's an idea that readers we talked with tonight don't much like. In Wallingford tonight, people greeted the idea of a one-newspaper town with concern.
I think it'd be a little unfair to the public. I mean, you know, you might get a different perspective from one paper over another.
I think it would be better to have 2 newspapers because then at least you have a choice and you have 2 possible point of views to read.
Seattle has survived as a 2-newspaper town, in part because a contract between the Times and the PI lets them share non-news operations like the presses and the classifieds. But if either paper loses money for 3 straight years, that joint operating agreement lets it begin negotiations to whittle 2 papers down to 1. The Times asked for such negotiations this weekend. But the Hearst Corporation, which owns the PI, has indicated it will dispute the Times' losses in court. That lawsuit could begin as soon as this week. Eileen McCloskey finds the prospect of losing one paper unwelcome news for reasons of diversity and more.
Different points of view, and also, I mean, just another thought of that many people being laid off if they do go to one paper. It's just kind of another hit for Seattle to take.
Right now, it's unclear just how many jobs could go if one newspaper shut down, but it could top 100 easily. Meanwhile, we'll likely learn more about any lawsuit within the next couple of days. Reporting live in Seattle, Rick Price, KIRO 7 Eyewitness News.
All right, we'll be watching it closely. And they just can't seem to finish the job on time. Our state lawmakers say they won't make tonight's midnight deadline to pass a budget deal. It means the governor will have to call a special session. Lawmakers will meet again on May 17th, and they'll have 30 days to iron out all their differences. But lawmakers did manage to pass a transportation package that adds a 5-cent a gallon tax to your gas. You'll start paying that in July. It's expected to help raise $4.1 billion. Legislators say the revenue will go straight to highway projects. It will also help ferry and rail systems. Reaction to all this has been mixed.
You know, costing us an arm and a leg now because the gases are going up again.
And I know when I do commute, though, our roads need some help, so I'd be all for actually a 5 cents a gallon tax. Especially if the prices are...
And the House is also debating a plan to tax candy, all to help balance the state budget. The new plan would raise $360 million in revenue. It also includes more taxes on cigarettes and liquor.
And if some lawmakers have their way, liquor stores in our state will soon be open on Sundays. Supporters say the extra day of sales would generate about $10 million in the next 2 years, all to help bridge that budget gap.
Scott Haveson is in the KIRO 7 Pinpoint Severe Weather Center with your first look at our forecast.
Well, a very good evening to you, Wayne and Sally. After a beautiful sunny day today, we're talking about partly cloudy skies overnight, so it's going to get a little chilly, right around 40 degrees. Now, coming up, I'm going to tell you if the sun is going to make a return appearance for your Monday, plus your pinpoint 5-day forecast. That's coming up next.
Also, a local teenager caught in a road rage crash doesn't survive prom night. Up next, the new tribute to her that may have you keeping cool behind the wheel.
A search for a missing plane that was headed to Western Washington expands in a desperate effort to find those aboard.
And a man rushes out of an inferno with a tiny baby. Coming up, see why he goes back into the flames. That's next on KIRO 7 Eyewitness News.
Monday at 5, black mold, bacteria, infection inside women's bodies.
I really think I would have died.
KIRO 7 uncovers startling new details of toxic mold in breast implants. Monday at 5 on KIRO 7 Eyewitness News.
She was working at another place that she wasn't really happy with. And I was telling her that it's time for her to come and work with my company.
It took a lot for her to convince me, but she was right.
Competitive pay, great benefits, they give you the opportunity to advance. Being a college graduate with 2 degrees, she could go anywhere. And I told her Walmart was the place to go.
I love my job. I'm an assistant manager, and I've been with Walmart for 4 years.
I'm a department manager at Walmart, and I've worked there for 7 years.
Chevy continues to drive the nation. With 0% APR financing for 60 months on every new 2003 Chevy car and truck. No exceptions. That's 0% APR for 60 months on every Chevy vehicle. It's easy to make offers like these when you're in overdrive. Visit us online or see your Northwest Chevy dealer today.
It was 1 year ago when an exciting night at the school prom ended in tragedy. Anger on the road led to that deadly accident, and it was a 16-year-old girl killed that night.
It was so senseless, caused by road rage. Today, those who love Georgia Pemberton created something special they hope will save lives by discouraging anger on our roads.
They came to where she died, but they brought along new life.
That's what today is all about. Remembering Georgia Pemberton, a beautiful, vibrant teen, full of all the good things.
Georgia Pemberton was just 16 when she died here nearly a year ago. It was April 27th, her prom night, when the driver of a red SUV passed another car in a case of road rage. He crossed the center line of the highway and hit the Mustang that Pemberton was riding in head on. The police officer who worked the case is still deeply affected.
Being a father myself, I can only imagine what y'all have been through over the last year. If I lost my son, I don't know how I could cope.
Seeking hope out of grief, they planted a tree here, the first part of what's meant to be a permanent memorial, clutching roses and angels and memories more than skin deep. They want Georgia to live forever in this spot and in their hearts.
With every Mustang, with every juicy peach, with every huge smile. Remember Georgia.
And the other message here, if you're ever tempted to give in to your rage on the road, don't.
Road rage takes 2 people. when confronted with this, and you will be confronted with this, remember in Georgia's name, just stop your car. Just pull over and stop your car. Do it for Georgia.
You know, friends of Georgia Pemberton say she was such a giving person. They always figured she would grow up and somehow work to save lives. Even though she's gone now, it's hoped her memory can still help save lives.
Meantime, the man convicted of killing Georgia Pemberton is sentenced to be sentenced next month. Allison Arnold remains behind bars tonight after a jury convicted him last week of vehicular homicide. Prosecutors convinced jurors that Arnold was in a fit of road rage when his SUV slammed into Pemberton's car head-on last year. The defense insisted that another driver, also charged with her death, forced Arnold into that oncoming traffic. A plane that disappeared from Wenatchee is now being looked for in Oregon. The Oregon Civil Air Patrol picked up the search after an intensive effort here in Washington failed to find the aircraft. It was supposed to be heading to Bellingham, but since both men in the plane were from San Francisco, the search has progressed south in case they decided to head home. Flames force an East Side family to flee their home. The fire broke out inside their unit at the Kirkland Heights apartments. They managed to get out unhurt, and tonight we're told the family's staying with relatives. The Red Cross helped them out with groceries and other basic needs. No word yet on what sparked that fire.
A brave teenager became a life-saving hero this morning. He rushed into this raging apartment fire in Abilene, Texas. It happened this morning, and you can see how the strong winds there had that fire ripping through the building. Amazingly, no one was killed. And you can thank Chris Leha. That's him rushing out of the apartment after rescuing 3 young children. He then went right back in to rescue a baby.
I don't even know how to react to this. I'm glad I was there for them kids and their mother and everything, just to bring them out of safety. That's what I'm just glad for right now.
These are remarkable numbers. 180 people made it out of that building alive. Investigators say it started as a car fire in the apartment's underground garage. An Amber Alert website is in the works. Washington, Oregon, Idaho, and British Columbia are hoping to have a prototype site running in about 3 months. It will be a place where law enforcement, the media, and citizens can go to get information about a child who's been abducted.
A year after Tacoma passed a landmark gay rights measure, the law continues to stir up controversy. This story comes from our partner, the News Tribune. The City Council overwhelmingly passed the measure last April, banning any discrimination against gays and lesbians. Supporters insist it has boosted the city's image as a fair place to work, but opponents say the ordinance has failed to spur economic growth. So far, only 2 people have filed lawsuits under the new ordinance. You could read more about this story in tomorrow's edition of the News Tribune.
Good evening, everyone. Scott Haveson in the KIRO 7 Pinpoint Severe Weather Center. What a beautiful way to end the weekend. Plenty of sunshine today. High temperature at SeaTac, 62 degrees with all that sunshine. Right now, partly cloudy in the downtown area and 51 degrees. Let's take a look at some of our Pinpoint neighborhood weather stations around the Puget Sound this evening. 48 degrees at our Pinpoint station up in Snohomish County in Everett with a light west wind at 7 miles an hour there. 47 degrees up in Bellingham. Light southeast wind there. 47 degrees at our Pinpoint station in Jefferson County in Port Townsend. And our final stop up at Snoqualmie Pass, a chilly 34 degrees. We'll take a look at our Pinpoint satellite picture. Now, we've had this cutoff low that's been spinning off the North Oregon coast for the past couple of days. That kept the showers in our forecast. But I'm going to set the map into motion. I want you to watch these clouds to the north. We're starting to see the wind coming out of the northeast, east, and that offshore flow is going to clear us out again for another day for your Monday. So we are going to see more sunshine and above normal temperatures. But down to the south, we have another area of low pressure that's starting to move up from Northern California. And unfortunately, that is going to be playing spoiler in our forecast as we start to move through the week. Your Pinpoint forecast tonight for the North Sound, we're going to see overnight lows into the upper 30s up in Bellingham, 37 there, 39 in Everett, 40 degrees in Port Angeles, 41 degrees in Paulsbo. Daytime highs after seeing highs today in the upper 50s, 59 today in Everett, tomorrow 63 degrees, 60 in Bellingham today. How about 64 for tomorrow, 65 degrees in Paulsbo. Not a bad day if you think about playing a little hooky tomorrow. It is going to be wonderful out there. Very chilly down in the South Sound tonight, down in Olympia. Watch out for some fog, especially towards Olympia and Tacoma tomorrow morning. 39 degrees for your overnight low in Shelton and 40 degrees in Bremerton. Another gorgeous day in the South Sound with mostly sunny conditions. And look at that, above normal temperature, 66 degrees in Olympia, 64 in Bremerton, 65 in Seattle and Tacoma. Out on the ocean beaches tonight, we're going to see overnight lows into the upper 30s in Ocean Shores, 39 there, 40 in Forks and Long Beach, and 43 degrees in Holcomb. Daytime highs tomorrow, gorgeous with that offshore flow Temperatures out on the coast will be equally as warm as they are here in the Sound. 64 in Forks, 66 in Hoquiam, 68 degrees in Chehalis, and 64 for Long Beach. Mountain passes are going to be gorgeous as well. Plenty of alpine sun tomorrow. Pass temperatures are going to be right around the 50-degree mark, and the freezing level way up at 6,500 feet. And that easterly wind, an indication of that high pressure, it's going to be clearing us out for an absolutely gorgeous Monday. Unfortunately, that area of low pressure that I showed you down in California is going to come and play spoiler to our forecast on Tuesday, giving us mostly cloudy conditions with some light rain, maybe a couple of showers on Wednesday, and I even left one in for Thursday, even though I'm not too confident about that. But certainly as we move into next weekend, we are talking about seeing a lot more in the way of sunshine and temperatures in the 60s, so it's certainly going to start to feel a little bit more like spring around here this week. And I'm going to be back shortly to take a look at your wake-up forecast.
2 days of sun, that's amazing. Hey, the Mariners gear up for the Yankee road trip with a win against Detroit. We'll have highlights on the way.
And some unbelievable shots in today's NBA playoffs. Gaard fills us in next in sports.
Every weekday, you'll have 3 chances to watch and win $1 million from KIRO 7. Get a chance to try to open the KIRO 7 $1 million vault. Just be the 7th caller when you see the vault during KIRO 7 Eyewitness News at 6 a.m., 5 p.m., or 11 p.m. every weekday. Feeling lucky? KIRO 7 Pinpoint Weather is brought to you by the Oil Heat Dealers of Washington. Oil Heat, the clear choice.
We knew we had to make the new Accord more comfortable and more stylish. Why else would you part with your old one? The all-new 2003 Accord from Honda. Now you can lease a 2003 Accord LX sedan for $239 a month for 39 months.
When I go into the schools, I'm very proud of what I do. I help kids learn to read.
We did a walkathon for juvenile diabetes.
I help feed the homeless in a soup kitchen every Saturday.
That's Walmart Good Works.
It's giving, it's helping, it's doing, it's giving back to the community.
I love to see their faces just light up.
Just knowing that you've helped that one person.
That I come home and I have a smile on my face. That's my day.
I'm very proud to be a Walmart associate.
We live here too, and we believe good works.
Buick quality goes 0 to 60. Now, Buick quality rewards you with 0 APR, interest-free financing for 60 months, or choose $3,000 cash back on every new Sabre and Century, both named a Consumer's Digest Best Buy. After cash back, this special edition Century is available for under $18,000. See your Western Washington Buick dealer.
KIRO 7's Pinpoint Weather, only on KIRO 7 Eyewitness News.
It's our biggest Sienna ever. 3 rows, 8 seats, bring the whole team. Or you can have a whole row to yourself. Got a sister? Yeah. You won't even know she's there. DVD? Personal headphones. It's got 60% more cargo space. Wow, it's really huge. And it's got a new 230 horsepower V6. What's that? I'm not sure.
The all-new, bigger Toyota Sienna. It has everything kids want and everything you need.
This is a Cooper Union Architecture Studio, which is composed of architecture students. You're picking out 2 amazing ideas, Fritz Lang's Metropolis and his reading of the modern movement. The modern movement in architecture was not a style. The modern was against style.
It's a parasite that latches on to the corners of modernist buildings.
I have to make money, but the money isn't the first thing. The idea is the first thing.
For 80 years, TIAA-CREF has managed money for people with other things to think about.
Ladies and gentlemen, the technology offensive has begun. Laser-guided adaptive cruise control, a rear-view camera, suspension that lowers at speed, headlights that turn to illuminate your path on curves.
Enough. So, what do we do now?
Introducing the entirely new Lexus RX 330. Putting the world on notice, again.
What do we do now?
At your Puget Sound Lexus dealer.
The Mariners continue to sizzle. Today they beat the Tigers. M's have won 13-16. Perfect timing as they hit the road for the Yankees. Just a beautiful day at Safeco Field. Even the Yankee flag having some fun out there in the light breezes. Freddie Garcia looking for his first win since April 6th. Bobby Higginson deep to right. Ichiro's going to run out of room. It's a solo shot, and that made it 2-1. We go to the third. The Mariners come up with 3 runs. Brett Boone, just the stinger right back up the box. And the Mariners go up 4-2. And then Freddie kind of settled down a little bit, and he goes 7 strong innings, 4 hits, 6 Ks, and the deuce gets Dean Palmer, and the M's look good winning at 4-3 today. So the M's go 5-1 during the homestand. Tigers fall to a measly 3-20. Jamie Moyer will pitch on Tuesday. And what a day for Kevin Millwood against the Giants. Has a no-hitter through 7 innings, and he keeps it going with a little defense right here, and they squeeze the leather. Later, they'll get Barry Bonds looking, and then in the 9th inning, he will close it out right here. A little easy pop-up. Ricky Leday will make the catch. Will squeeze it. Kevin Millwood completes the no-hitter. The last no-hitter in the Bigs was exactly 1 year ago today. The NFL draft wrapped up today, and the crazy thing, not one Husky was selected in this year's draft. Washington State defensive tackle Ryan Long finally got picked. Long was named college football's best defensive lineman, and many thought he'd be maybe a first-round draft pick. That's what they were talking about. Instead, Long goes in the 4th round to Tennessee. Here's day 2 for the Seahawks. They select quarterback Seneca Wallace and linebacker Solomon Bates in the 4th round, and Chris Davis goes in the 5th. And then in the 6th, they grab Rashard Moore, that's a beefy guy, Josh Brown, and Taco Wallace. Well, you can tell things are getting tight in the NBA playoffs. Just some great shots today. We're going to whip you through the playoffs. We'll start in Portland. Blazers trying to avoid getting swept by Dallas. Davis Stoudemire gets the steal and the nice little finish. Portland wins at 98-79, snapping a 10-game playoff losing streak. In Phoenix, it's the Spurs and the Suns. Jake Voskuhl with the game-winning bucket in the final seconds right there. The Suns pull off the win, 86-84. That series deadlocked at 2 games apiece. In Los Angeles, Lakers and T-Wolves, Kobe Bryant, watch him just grab the loose ball, and then the 360 dunk finish. LA wins at 102-97. That series deadlocked at 2-2. And in the East, Celtics and Pacers, it's Paul Pierce scoring 21, pulls up, drains it. How about that? Boston win at 102-92 to take a 3-1 lead in that series. Finally, Magic and Pistons, 1 second on the shot clock. Darryl Armstrong takes the inbound pass, and it goes. Oh, baby. The Magic go on to win at 192. Orlando leads that series 3-1. Final round of the Houston Open. Seattle's Fred Couples headed into the day with a 1-stroke lead, and he even got better. Pick him up at 8. Look at this. Looking for the birdie, and it has landed. Nothing would stop Freddie. Just chuck it. The putter was sizzling in his hands. Couples birdies 18 to win his first PGA event since the '98 Memorial. Good for him. And up in Vancouver, the Canucks hosting Minnesota. Look at these guys going at it. That's hockey playoff right there. Yes, game tied at 1 to start the 3rd, but the Wild score 2 goals in the first 65 seconds. Minnesota wins at 3-2. That series 1-1. Game 3 is Tuesday back in Minnesota.
Exciting playoff stuff.
Absolutely. NBA, NHL, Mariners are playing great.
Fun.
It is. So much, good stuff.
We'll be right back.
Closed captioning of KIRO 7 Eyewitness News is brought to you by Subway.
Buick quality goes 0 to 60. Now, Buick Quality rewards you with 0 APR, interest-free financing for 60 months, or choose 3,000 cash back on every new LeSabre and Century, both named a Consumer's Digest Best Buy. After cash back, this special edition Century is available for under $18,000. See your Western Washington Buick dealer.
Count the minutes, count the hours, and count the savings. Levitt's 40-hour sale ends tomorrow at 9 p.m. with furniture savings only seen at Levitt's. We're going to prove it with 10% off everything in our huge inventory, plus no payments till August 2004. We'll even deliver in just a week. And for the next few hours, discontinued floor samples are marked down 20%, plus no payments for 15 months. The clock stops tomorrow at 9 p.m., so get going.
Christopher, come on, let's go, sweetie.
In neighborhoods across the country, State Farm is helping to make life safer for children. We're the sole sponsor of the nation's largest child passenger safety study, which found that even though they've outgrown a car seat, kids 40 to 80 pounds still need a car booster seat.
We live where you live.
being there to help keep kids safe. That's what we're all about.
Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
Entertainment tonight, weeknights at 7 on KIRO 7.
Okay, let's say this is your car and you get into an accident. Oh boy. If you take it to an Allstate recommended repair shop, they'll fix it, so you're pretty happy. You're like, woo, I'm pretty happy. Even better, Allstate guarantees the workmanship for as long as you own the car, which means if even the smallest thing goes wrong, you don't have to pay for it. So you're still happy. You're like, woo, I'm still happy. So there you go, the Allstate Lifetime Repair Guarantee. Call now and find out how you're in good hands with Allstate.
We see an old family recipe for success. An empire built from a storefront. We see the soda king of the Midwest. At Microsoft, it's what inspires us to create software that helps them reach it.
Sounds like it may be a tough day to go back to work.
It is going to be a tough one. We're going to start off the day with some low clouds and some valley fog. Temperatures in the low 40s, but it's all going to be burning off quickly. Plenty of sunshine tomorrow, and yeah, it is going to be tough to go back to work tomorrow. I'll see you out on the golf course.
There you go.
That sounds good. Thanks so much. Always a pleasure, Scott. Thank you for joining us tonight.
Have a great night. We'll see you next weekend.
Good night, everybody.
KIRO 7's pinpoint weather and the best mix of the 80s, 90s, and now can be found at home, at work, or in the car on Seattle's variety station, Mix 92.5.